All right, everyone, welcome back to my channel. And as you know, if you're following me on Instagram, I am currently in a lockdown in Shanghai, China. And COVID has been spreading pretty rampantly here for the last 2 months. And the last 30 days, we've gone into a pretty tight lockdown situation. So what I thought I would do is do a Q&A. I get a lot of questions over Instagram from you guys, and thought maybe I would take some time to answer what's on your mind. So I requested this about 3 or 4 days ago. You guys sent me a bunch of really great questions, so I'm going to answer a few of them now. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, first question. Why stick around when China's border policy is uncertain for possibly years? All right, this is probably one of the biggest questions I always get. Why am I still here? So it's kind of a complicated answer, but I'll try to make it short. First of all, my job's here, okay? Yes, I work for a big company that has a worldwide presence, and I could transfer to other locations, but it's not always so simple to just say, hey, I wanna leave, right? So that's part of it. Number two is my kids, my two daughters, they absolutely love their school here in Shanghai, and they love their friends here in Shanghai. So they've wanted to come back, and that has been something that we've struggled with kind of as a family to figure out what's that balance of patience versus how much we all miss each other. And we tried to be patient, like we really did. We've been trying to be patient now for the last 2 years, and to be quite frank, I now seeing this situation this last month in Shanghai, China's not going to open anytime soon. So bad news is the family's probably not coming back, almost certainly not coming back. The other bad news is I'm probably leaving at some point. So yeah, I'm in the process of exploring other options right now, and as soon as I have something tangible, I'll let you guys know. But the most important thing is the next country I go to has to allow my family to come in and out with no sort of like visa ramifications. So that's the problem in Shanghai, is when they left, their visa expired, and I had to get mine renewed. I stayed, so I'm on a different visa, and I'm the person with the job, right? So they're on a dependent visa, and China cut off approving dependent visas, when COVID broke out like 2 years ago. So anyhow, it's been a long, frustrating, heartbreaking, honestly, experience. I've missed 2 years of my kid's life, and enough's enough. So we are, we're planning an escape, and we're planning a rendezvous and a chance to reunite. So yeah, stay tuned on the details. I'll announce it here or on Instagram once I have something firm. All right, second question. So this is a good one. Dog food. Has it been difficult to get food for your 3 dogs during lockdown? The answer is yes. It's been difficult to get any sort of food during lockdown. Human food, dog food, bird food, rabbit food, I'm sure any sort of food at this point, people are struggling with figuring out how to get their hands on it consistently. So I ran out of dog food 4 or 5 days ago. I think 4 days ago. And so yeah, I've been making their food. Now my IE, my housekeeper, so she works full time, but she's been in lockdown, in her neighborhood. So I haven't seen her, in a month almost. And she would make the dog food. So we rarely used like dry dog food or like regular store-bought food. She always made the dogs food. So she sent me the recipe, and I've been using her recipe, and I think they still like it. I don't know. Louie's right here. You still like it? These dogs will eat anything. So, and I've been supplementing. Like today, I fed them sardines just to give them something different. So yeah, unfortunately, I have to share my food with them at this point, because you never know when food deliveries are going to be coming. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now on dog food. All right, next question. Do you think it's possible for Shanghai to achieve zero COVID again? I have no idea. I really have no idea. I'm not a scientist. I'm probably the worst guy in the world to give advice on this stuff. But based on my reading, based on what I'm seeing around the world, I would say probably not. If there is a country who could do it, China's probably the one who would do it. I think my fear now is, how would China go about doing it? And whereas in the beginning of this pandemic, I was very complimentary to China and the way that they were handling it. And in many ways, I still feel that way. But it's been grossly mismanaged in Shanghai. And we've seen some terrible authoritarian type behavior. And I think I'm scared to see what zero COVID will continue to cause the government to do. It's not my country. I try to be respectful. I try not to put too much negative stuff out there because I am a guest in this country. And my country, the U.S., mismanaged COVID probably as badly as you can, from what I've seen. Most deaths anywhere, at least proven deaths, it looks like. So, I don't really know. I would say with this new variant, this Omicron variant that's now just spreading in China, it's so contagious. I read somewhere that it's the second most contagious virus ever studied, behind, I think it was measles or whooping cough, one of those. And I just don't think it's possible based on what I've read. I could be wrong. If there's any country that can do it, it's China. But again, like I said, I think what I'm most worried about is how will China do it? What actions will they take? How much worse will living conditions get to protect us all from a virus? Okay, my favorite question that I got. Who was your favorite boss and why was it Christina? So I'll just give you guys one guess who sent me this question. And you would be right. It's Christina, my former boss. She's amazing. She was my favorite boss, still is my favorite boss. And I've had some great bosses. But yeah, Christina's my mentor. I look up to her. I miss her. I miss you if you're watching. And yeah, you know why. You know the reasons why. Moving on. Next question. What do you like and dislike the most about Shanghai? Look, I love the lifestyle in this city, to be honest. It's a fantastic city. I always tell people, because like my family's like, why are you in China? Gosh, China, really? And a lot of my family hasn't traveled that extensively. And what I try to tell people is like living in Shanghai is like living in New York or San Francisco or Chicago or any big developed city. I mean, it's not that different, to be honest. There's incredible culture here. There's incredible food, lots of stuff to do. It's a great city. It's like living in any other big city. What do I dislike most about living here? I think things like what we're going through right now, is that there are different laws that do not protect, I guess, the individual as much as what I'm used to in the United States. I guess that's the way I'll say it. And, a lot of times if you're just a person, right, with some issue or something that you're trying to fight against, you got no choice. Like, you got no options, Whereas in the U.S., there's a lot of the laws are more, I don't know, I guess it maybe just comes down to like free speech and your ability to speak out and protest against a government or something like that. So I think even though that doesn't apply necessarily to me in the sense that I'm not a Chinese citizen or anything like that, but that's probably the thing that bothers me the most, right? Is just the difference in political philosophies here versus where I'm from. They're so different. Here's what's funny. Even if the actions aren't that different, right? We've seen the U.S. be authoritarian, over the last couple of years. But it's the philosophy behind the actions, I think, that it's just very different. So sometimes I get frustrated about, like, I'll read something in the news or I'll see a situation like this, and I don't understand it as an American. And I'm not saying that there's necessarily like a clear right and wrong. What I am arguing, though, is that I don't understand it well enough to feel comfortable with some of the things that I see and feel. So yeah, that's it. I mean, there's little annoyances when you're an expat, when you're living in any place that's not from where you're from. You're not always going to feel comfortable. That's part of the reason I love being an expat, and that's one of the reasons I love to travel and see new things and meet new people and spend time immersed in new cultures that are not my own. It challenges me, and I think that's healthy as a human, is to be constantly challenged at that level. But I'm not going to lie, a lot of times it can be frustrating or scary. And, you know, there's little things that just add up at the end of the day to where you're just like, God, I'm just kind of tired of having to deal with that, and you always remember the comfort from home, and you think, yeah, if I was home, I could just do blah, blah, blah. I try not to dwell on those things too much because, this is a choice for me to live here, and it is a choice to live an expat life. I've been doing it, now for, 7 years continuously, but, 2 before that, when I lived in Vietnam in the mid 2000s. And, nothing too bad here, to be honest. Like, I really do love living in Shanghai, and it's kind of breaking my heart that, we've made the decision to start looking for the next adventure. So while I'm positive for whatever that next adventure will be, it makes me sad that my time here in Shanghai is probably coming to an end, relatively soon. All right, so question for those book lovers out there like me. Reading or listening to a book, what will bring a deeper connection to the story? This is a really interesting question, and actually, I didn't know how to answer it in the beginning. I had to think about it quite a bit, and it really depends. So let me give you an example. If I don't listen to too many audiobooks, maybe 5 to 10 a year, and which I guess might be a lot, but compared to the number I read, it's probably only 10% of the books I read every year. And what I find is that I like to read nonfiction on the page, be it in a physical book or on an iPad or my Kindle, because I can outline things, mark the page, because I do come back and I reference quite a bit of nonfiction books. Fiction, if it's a story, I typically don't also like it in audio unless the narration is incredible. And there are a few books out there where the narration it's almost like a live play that you're listening to. They have multiple voice actors, or maybe one voice actor who can, change their accent and change, the way they present, the way they perform the voice. I've run across quite a few titles that will do that over the years. And then it's a totally different experience. Then I would say, yeah, do that. What I find that doesn't work for me is when the author reads his or her own work and it's a work of fiction, because usually an author is not trained to also be a voice actor. So then it just doesn't have the same, production value, I guess, that really brings me into a story and kind of sucks me into the world. So yeah, I guess in general, I prefer hard copy books. Number 2, iPad, Kindle, and then number 3, audio. When are you leaving China? Another question. Soonish. I don't know exactly, but yeah, I'm looking for new opportunities with my same company. I'll stay with my same company, and just looking for the right place. We'll probably not be back to the United States unless I'm forced to go back for some reason, family or whatever. But yeah, no desire to move back to the United States. So yeah, the next adventure will be in another foreign country. And I'll announce it here or on Instagram, so stay tuned. When will your family come back to Shanghai? They probably won't. Yeah, they probably won't. The next time I see them will be in another country, not this one, and probably not the US. It'll be in some third unnamed country. That'll be the next time I see my family. And hopefully it'll be maybe a vacation somewhere before the final move. Or maybe depending on the timing and the offer, whenever I get an offer, wherever it might be, yeah, we could just move there and I would get to work. So probably won't be in Shanghai, unfortunately. Now, what do you think of the COVID policy in China? Is it way too strict? All right, look, disclaimer. I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a scientist. No. I was an English major in college. I have no scientific background. Last person you should listen to probably on this subject. But my opinion, okay? My opinion, this is not medical advice, obviously. I think the measures here right now in Shanghai are way too strict. And I will qualify it by saying way too strict without a support plan. So let me explain what I mean by that. I actually believe in lockdowns, and I was very vocal, in the US, like, no, lock down, lock everything down, okay? However, you have to allow people to go out and get food. You have to allow food deliveries. You have to allow people to go to the hospital if they've got some other condition that they need care for. I was just talking to an internet friend through Instagram, never met this person, but she was telling me how her husband's great grandmother just died here in China because she couldn't get care. Had nothing to do with COVID. Nothing to do with COVID. She needed emergency care. Okay, great grandma, she's probably 80s, 90s, I'm guessing based on the age of this person, and had some other condition that had nothing to do with COVID. But because she didn't have a COVID test within 48 hours, they wouldn't let her in the hospital, and she freaking died. Okay, that's dumb. That's dumb. It's inhumane. It's freaking terrible, and it's shameful. Like, honestly, the government should be ashamed of themselves. And here's why. We've had 2 years to plan for this, okay? And I think the arrogance, that's the one thing, the ego and the arrogance of the people in charge has created this situation in Shanghai. It has nothing to do with COVID. We know everything we need to know for the most part about COVID at this point because we've seen it spread all over the world. So to be caught this unprepared, this late in the game, to me is unforgivable. Perhaps there's some complexity I don't understand. Like I said, I'm an idiot. I don't know about these things. I'm not trained in these things. I'm just some dude talking to you over the internet in his office. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I think if you want to lock down, totally cool. Lock us down. Go crazy. Lock us down for 30 days. Figure out how to get us food, right? Figure out how to test the guys that are delivering the food. Let people go to the hospital to give birth or to get some sort of care for another type of medical emergency. Don't kill dogs and cats just because you can't find their owner or the owner was taken away. Like, come on. Like, a society that is prepared and a society, in my opinion, that is worth their power that they're given would have plans for that shit 2 years after the fact. That's my opinion. Okay, next question. How do we know How do we know what we see about Shanghai happening is legit? Some are really bad. Okay, so I think what this person is trying to say is all these crazy videos we're seeing, people beating dogs to death, these small, maybe uprisings in certain housing complexes. How do we know it's legit? Here's a short answer. We don't. To be honest, we have no idea. Everybody's got a freaking camera now. Everybody can edit video. All this stuff could be fake. I don't personally think they all are fake. I'm sure some of them are, or they're exaggerated, or they were taken from a different time, maybe with different context. Sure, I'm sure that stuff happens. But I've heard enough stories from people I actually know, I've actually physically met, who live here in Shanghai. I've heard stories from people that I trust. So I know those types of things are happening. Now, did the things we actually saw in the video actually happen? I don't know. Are those same types of things happening? Yes, I know that almost for sure, right? So I do think it's probably as bad as what we've seen, maybe worse. Yeah, that's my opinion. All right, why did you originally come to Shanghai? So for work. Short answer, for work. I moved to China almost 7 years ago. It'll be 7 years ago this summer. And it was for work. I work for an American company. I don't ever say where I work. If you guys know me, you know where I work. But I try to keep my YouTube, my online presence completely cut off from my work. So yeah, I don't mention it. But yeah, an American company and with a large presence here in China and around the world. And we were expanding aggressively in China a few years back, so I raised my hand and said I would like to go. That's why I'm here. All right, that's the Q&A. So thank you for sending questions, and hopefully that was able to shed just a little bit of light on what's going on here in my life, but also here in Shanghai. So not a really fancy video, not a lot of production value, just me talking to the camera. So yeah, it's been a while since I made a video. I've been super inconsistent on YouTube, guys, and it is what it is. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I do what I can. I do as much as I can. Like I said, I got a full-time job and other responsibilities. I do enjoy making videos. I do enjoy taking pictures and, uploading things to Instagram. But, I've got other things that I also have to worry about. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll try to make more. So if you like this, do me a favor, subscribe, because then that lets me know that, okay, Michael, you should probably make some more videos because more people have subscribed, so they want to hear more from you. Yeah, and hopefully everybody stays safe out there. Don't catch COVID, especially if you're in Shanghai. So I'll send you away to one of the camps. Take care, everybody. Talk to you next time.